Well, the NBA Finals have officially ended, and that means the NBA and the Lakers offseason can officially begin, which is definitely going to be a three-part thing. The first of which being the NBA draft, then coming free agency, then maybe trades in between there, or maybe after all that, or kind of could be a mix between all of it. And between the three of them, the Lakers are going to be, or definitely should be, very active. They do have a draft pick, currently owning the 55th overall draft pick, which they might either trade and package to move up in the NBA draft, or trade entirely out of the NBA draft. And then of course with free agency, never know what might happen there, but they do have the taxpayer mid-level exception, maybe the full mid-level exception if LeBron takes his pay cut, and then of course the many trades that many fans like them to make, and maybe a few of which they actually will make. But before any of that, they gotta figure out their own roster, which players they are not willing to trade, which players they are willing to trade, who they're trying to bring back via free agency, and much more. And to go along with that, we do have a new report talking about two of them, talking about both Austin Reaves and Jaxson Hayes. Reaves being the player that they're likely not willing to trade, even for a couple of dream targets including Jalen Duren, Onyeka Okongwu, and potentially Walker Kessler. And then for Jaxson Hayes, a report saying that he likely will command more money than they want to pay him, and that they probably will let him go if they can find a better upgrade than him. But we can't rule out a reunion between them quite yet. So we'll talk about that, along with the Austin Reaves trade report as well. But before we get too far into it, just a heads up that I do plan to go live for the NBA draft again this year, that being on Wednesday at 7 PM Eastern time. So we'll talk about the draft day picks, any draft day trades that might happen, hopefully some Laker draft day trades, and simply talk and hang out. So be sure to come by. But now getting back to our topic, and starting out with the Jaxson Hayes report, this coming from The Athletic, them saying quote unquote, the Lakers likely will try and do better here, and Hayes will likely try to find a place where he's more appreciated, but I'm not sure we should rule out a reunion between them quite yet. Between LA's early bird rights on Hayes, and the limited money on the market for supplemental centers like him, these two may find that continuing uncomfortable marriage remains better than the alternative. So again, definitely can't rule out a reunion between them. It didn't end well for them, and especially not during the playoffs, with Hayes falling out of their rotation, even falling out of their starting lineup, even though they didn't have a different backup center alternative than him, apart from Kleba, who played a grand total of 5 minutes during the final game they played. It was kind of an awkward ending for them, but it might not be the final ending for them. Even with Hayes not playing well, even with Redick not trusting him, they might try to run it back if they can't find a better option. And for the Lakers, with them having only one contract above a veteran minimum, which may or may not go to a guy like Clint Capella or Brook Lopez, we've heard plenty about that, if they don't make a trade for a center, whether that's a Nick Claxton, Daniel Gafford, so on and so forth, I'm not entirely sure. If they can't make that happen, either one of them or both of them, then he definitely could be a real option for them. I mean, after him, then we're looking at the center market and veteran minimum center market, probably for guys that are way past their prime, can't even target guys like, again, Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, probably not even Al Horford, or even a guy like Kevon Looney for that fact. We're looking more so at guys like maybe a Kai Jones, maybe a Charles Bassey for example. That's kind of the alternative for a veteran minimum. So between them, the volatility and kind of unprovenness that would come with them, or going back to Jaxson Hayes, who again did not end the season well with them, did not really have that trust between him and JJ Redick or the team entirely, I still probably would go with him to be their direct backup center. No, not their starting center, wouldn't run it back with that, and that would be a definite no-go for me. But for a backup center playing again his old role, that 15 to 20 minute per game kind of role, or 10 to 15 minutes per game, I'd be completely fine with that, at least for the time being. Again, it definitely did not end well between them, him being benched and entirely replaced within their rotation, but in my opinion, that really overshadowed a solid regular season by Hayes. I mean, in the 35 games that he did start for their team, they went 26-9. No, obviously not entirely from him, but he definitely did contribute to it. In that 35 game time frame, playing roughly 22.5 minutes per game, shooting a team high 72.9% for the field, very efficient, albeit pretty much all of them coming within 5 feet, averaging roughly 6 rebounds per game, over 1 assist per game, over 1 offensive rebound per game, nearly 1 block per game, and having an average plus minus per game of plus 3.3. So pretty damn impressive, even for a guy that eventually did get replaced. So no matter what way you look at it, no matter how you remember him by this season, he definitely did have a good stretch run for them and definitely was a pretty good stopgap post Anthony Davis trade. After all, a large majority of that was post Anthony Davis, him stepping into their starting lineup after they traded away Anthony Davis, after they got Luka Doncic, after they failed to get Mark Williams. It led to them kind of having to rely on Hayes, and for a time there, he definitely proved to be pretty good in that role for them. Again, definitely wouldn't bring him back to that role, but I'm completely fine with him as their backup if they can't find a better option. I mean, he is a pretty great offensive pairing with Luka Doncic, simply being that elite vertical athlete, being a great lob threat, and a good pick and roll partner, good rim runner in general. That's not a bad backup center to have on their team. And then with him showing defensive improvement last season, I mean, I guess during the regular season, not really during the postseason, only being 25 years old yet, and likely being able to have for a fairly good price here, especially if a different team doesn't offer him a random contract that he's not worth, it wouldn't be a terrible option for them, albeit not my favorite option. So let me know what you guys think about bringing back Hayes or how you feel about that happening. But now moving on to the Austin Reaves trade report, this being from Dan Wilkie of the LA Times, who's now Dan Wilkie of the Athletic, so congrats to him. Him talking about Austin Reaves and what the Lakers would be willing to trade him for or what they're not willing to trade him for, which apparently includes guys like Jalen Duren, Onyeka Okongwu, and Walker Kessler. 3 guys they have been linked to and 3 guys they have tried to trade for in the past year now. Dating back to the trade deadline, and I made an entire video about this if you want to check it out, they tried to trade for Jalen Duren, tried to trade for Onyeka Okongwu, at the bare minimum contacted both the Jazz and Hawks respectively about them, and then were sufficiently turned down by them too. And then obviously for Walker Kessler, have been consistently trying to trade for the guy, dating all the way back to last summer. And well, according to this report, they have not been willing to include Austin Reaves in those trades. Not for Walker Kessler, not for Jalen Duren, or for Onyeka Okongwu. Kind of their dream targets in my opinion. Even for the centers that would fit their team perfectly, they are not willing to trade Austin Reaves for. And well, for the most part, I actually agree with that too. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're 3 talented young players, but comparing them to Austin Reaves and the value that he provides to their team, I still think it's not quite there, especially if you're trading Reaves and their only tradable first-round draft pick left. And well, this report kind of agrees with that too, saying that the Lakers believe in Austin Reaves and that Luka Doncic believes in Austin Reaves, both of which we have heard about and directly from Luka Doncic too. So in regard to that, I'm not sure that Luka wants them to trade Austin. I don't think the Lakers, and I kind of know the Lakers don't want to trade Austin Reaves. Definitely not for these 3, only for an absolute no-brainer kind of trade for an elite star player. That's what they're willing to trade him for. Not for a guy that simply feels a need for their team but isn't quite the level of Austin Reaves, even for a guy like Kessler, Duren, or Okongwu. The report then goes on to say that they're trying to build what the Dallas Mavericks had with Luka Doncic. Obviously, one part of that being Luka Doncic, then surrounding him with number 1, a good center, number 2, athletic wings, and then number 3, a secondary playmaker, which they won't have post LeBron if they trade away Austin Reaves. So they can get the good center, can get athletic wings without trading Austin Reaves, and that's likely what they're trying to do here. Keeping that piece with Luka Doncic, which again Luka Doncic does want and does believe in him, quote unquote, so they're trying to incorporate all of that and get all of that without trading Austin Reaves. So we'll see how that goes for them and if they can actually accomplish that goal or not. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the Austin Reaves trade report and that they're likely not going to trade him, even for their ideal center? And then how do you feel about the Jaxson Hayes report, that they likely won't bring him back and that he doesn't feel appreciated, but they might ultimately have to come to a reunion due to the center market? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.